Or can other animals on this planet actually tell lies too?
Okay, so this is what we're looking at today. Can animals lie? And I think it's going to be a very short episode because obviously, yes, there is an incredible amount of deception in the animal kingdom, Michael. This is going to be a very easy one.
Okay, there is a lot of deception in the animal kingdom, but is there a lot of lying?
I mean, I think it depends on where you're setting your goalposts here. I mean, stick insects, they're pretending to be sticks. You've got butterflies, they've got false eye spots on their wings. Venomous snake species that are kind of hard to tell apart because loads of other creatures copy them, pretend to be all venomous. That's sort of, well, it's definitely deception, isn't it?
It's definitely deception. Okay, yeah, like camouflage, all right? But I love what you said about the stick insect, that it's pretending to be a stick. Is it pretending to be a stick? That seems to give it a lot of agency. It can't help the fact that it is stick-shaped. That is involuntary deception. It cannot help it. It's just the way it was born. A camouflaged animal is not deciding to deceive. It's just natural form is deceiving.
So are we saying that this is the most basic level of deception then, this idea of like camouflage that doesn't actually involve any behavior?
Yeah, that's right. Like the animal cannot be otherwise. It just always is in that deceptive state. An insect that looks like a leaf all the time. I think that's like bare bones, lowest level deception. And maybe it's a lie, maybe it's not, but I think like maybe we'll be able to answer that by the end of this episode.
This episode is brought to you by Cancer Research UK.
So when most people think of naked mole rats, their unusual relationship to cancer probably isn't the first thing that comes to mind.
But maybe it should be, because it is incredibly rare for them to develop cancer, which could be partly down to their unique immune system, or it might be the way that their cells respond to damage.
So scientists are studying their biology for its cancer-fighting secrets. It's a reminder that discoveries can sometimes come from places you don't expect.
Cancer Research UK is the world's largest charitable funder of cancer research. Thousands of scientists, of doctors and nurses work across more than 20 countries to help turn discoveries in the lab into new tests, new treatments, and new innovations.
And the impact is clear. Over the past 50 years, the charity's pioneering work has helped double cancer survival in the UK, meaning more people living longer, better lives free from the fear of cancer.
For more information about Cancer Research UK, their research, their breakthroughs, and how you can support them, visit cancerresearchuk.org/rest is science.
I think if the animal can sometimes do the deception but sometimes doesn't, and that's triggered by certain events, that feels like a little more complex. An animal that looks like a delicious treat until a predator comes by and then it changes into looking like a stick. That's a little bit more complex
that works.
Than always looking like a stick. And we should say that a lot of different researchers have tried to make a taxonomy of deception. And so we're going off of a lot of different lists. Robert Mitchell's is really famous. But I think we can all agree that there's a difference between a animal that from birth, or at least for its entire adult life, looks like something it isn't, versus an animal that behaves and reacts in a way that's deceptive.
And already the examples that you're giving there, I mean, I think chameleons like spring to mind immediately, that they can just camouflage themselves in with the surroundings, but it's sort of a pre-programmed behavior. It's not like sort of saying, today I'm going to be pink, right?
Right.
Like it's not like in the Disney films where it just, has an array of colors. It's reacting to its environment in a way that it was always genetically predisposed to do.
That's right. So whether or not it has a choice, we don't even need to answer. We can at least agree that it's different than an animal that is always deceptive, like the eye spots on a butterfly. They are always there. It's actually responding to its environment, sometimes more truthfully, sometimes more deceptively.
Okay, well, let me give you another example then, because there are definitely some examples of animals making an active choice to deceive. The cuttlefish is a perfect example of this. Cuttlefish, which for most of my childhood I only knew as something that you put in a parrot's cage, but it's actually this creature that lives off the western coast of Australia. The biggest cuttlefish in the ocean, this particular species of it, and also really dramatic, this particular animal. So often these creatures, they get called the chameleons of the sea because they are incredibly good and quick at changing colour, right? They can camouflage themselves to the background. But that can come in very handy when they want to engage in a particular type of deception, because there are 4 males for every 1 female, right? The females know this. They are extremely picky about who they'll mate with as a direct result of this. And most of the time when mating attempts happen, what happens is this large male will sort of come in and approach the lady from the side, and it will spread its arms, and then it will grab the female's head, which, I mean, sexy as it sounds, about 70% of the time it results in a rejection from the female. Okay, so no. You need to woo her. You need to put on some Barry White cuttlefish. You need to learn. Anyway, here's the thing, right? So there's obviously incredibly high competition among males for mating rights over females, and especially when you have this high chance of rejection. The larger males, what they end up doing is they basically become full-time bodyguards around their females. They sort of like shove away these smaller males who dare to come anywhere near. And to get around that, the smaller males, they have this act of deception that they engage in. So what they do is they change their colouring, change their arms, basically mimic being like a cute girl, get in the harem, effectively, in amongst all of the other females, while the big male either isn't looking or mistakes it for a female. And what can happen sometimes is that the larger kind of alpha males will approach what they think is a female, grabbing their head, etc., only to find out that it's actually a male in disguise, a sneaker, as it's known. And from there, I mean, they have at least a chance to mate, which they otherwise wouldn't. So there's some researchers last year who were looking at these creatures, and they were following 5 different sneaky males. One of the sneakers just got rejected straight off. One was caught off by sort of the alpha and was chased off. 3 got close enough to the females in order to attempt to mate with them, and 2 became new fathers to a brood of baby cuttlefish. So, you know, it's a tactic, and it definitely works, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Now that feels like we're going a level deeper into this deception. Because, okay, sure, it sort of doesn't really have that much of a choice, because the sneaker males, if they want to have babies, I mean, this is their only option, really. But at the same time, it feels like it's making a behavioural... It feels like there's some autonomy that's involved in this.
Yes, it could be otherwise. A stick bug will always look like a stick, but a cuttlefish could, not successfully do the deception dance and, lose out and not have kids. But it's still, in the cuttlefish, a very instinctive, it's born genetically with this ability to react. I think to go a level further, we need to find animals that do not naturally, from birth, have an instinct to deceive, but can learn things that are deceptive.
Okay, I think I have an example for you that brings this on one step further. And it's actually one of my favourite natural history stories of all time. I've been holding this one in my back pocket for an opportunity to bring it up, and now that day has finally come.
All right, pull it out.
Okay, so in 1910-ish, there are all these expeditions to the Arctic regions, right?